Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So 225 and dropping. So
yeah. 220. Let me do this again here.
I know some of you know
Hold on, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the intro bass to Seinfeld.
Saying on my phone, I know some of you know this on the iPhone. They've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping.
Idiots.
So
idiots, malicious idiots who revel in the misery of others. I said it yesterday. 225 and dropping.
25 and dropping.
I'm fairly certain it was up $50 today, which was something like 20 some odd percent at the close of the market. That was Tim Walls. Tampon Tim. I have a guest in the backdrop, so I will watch my language and not call him Tim No Balls Walls, but it's Tim Walls. You know who it is. A man whose business acumen is right up on par with his vice presidential aspirations acumen. Reveling in the misery of others, enjoying the fact that he and his citizens are losing money, giving you the stupidest advice on earth, but reveling in the moment because that's what they are about. Weaponizing misery, who now looks like the biggest idiot on earth. I wanted to start with a Mark Carney opening video, which I'm going to get to right now because I'm going to take this opportunity of being on one end of that spectrum. You guys know the meme? Let me get the meme. It's the genius meme or the bell curve meme. Today I'm on one end of the spectrum of it. I'm either on the left end or the right end because I put out a tweet on Monday which basically said, if you have the intention of pausing the tariffs or putting a 90-day pause on the tariffs, the first thing you're going to do is deny the rumor that you're contemplating putting a 90-day pause on the tariffs. I said that Monday. And today, lo and behold, Trump announces to the joy of the markets that there will be a 90-day pause on all tariffs for all countries who came to the table and did not retaliate. You know which countries did retaliate? China, Mexico, and Canada. Let's go listen to the wonderful words of Mark J. Carney. And then I'm going to tell you the revelation that I had in the intro before we got live. Encryptus on the end heard me scream into the mic. I get it now.
This is exactly the type of innovation that we need to tackle the housing crisis and the economic crisis that has been brought on by President Trump's trade war.
Pause. Remember, he always says, and, because when I say it a second time, it makes it even more impactful. The housing crisis of the Liberals' creation, but this intro is not a rant about Canada at this point. Just pay attention to it. They're going to solve all the problems they caused. But right now, Trump's tariff war, which this nincompoop, feigning strength against an adversary that could kick his butt in every respect, despite his newfound pride in the post-national state of Canada, lest we forget what Justin Trudeau said in 2015. He picked a fight with the guy that he had no chance of winning against, and now he's understanding why he was stupid for having done what he did, which was retaliate instead of saying, let us address your issues with our border, with our fentanyl crisis, with our illegal people on terror watch lists crossing into the border. Okay, fine.
See, President Trump is in the process of trying to fundamentally restructure the U.S. economy. And in the process, he is rupturing the global economy. The immediate impact has been sharp falls and ongoing volatility in global financial markets, putting retirement savings at risk.
If you had bought Tesla when Marjorie Taylor Greene told you not to be a panicking, you're up 30 some odd percent, 40%.
People's livelihoods, from the auto industry in Ontario to the forestry workers here in British Columbia, those livelihoods being put in jeopardy. The U.S. is again targeting the Canadian forestry industry by more than doubling the duties charged on softwood lumber.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear the word duties and not laugh. I apologize.
That decision, as well as with the other Trump tariffs, is unjustified, it is unwarranted, and it's fundamentally misguided.
Well, all right. Well,
this is
no pause for you, Carney. So when I said that Trump was laying it up for Pierre with the initial tariffs and Pierre fumbled that ball, here's your second chance. Do we now understand what he was saying? Yeah, it's easier to work with liberals because they're stupid. Let's take a brief pause from this video for a word from our sponsor, 1775 Coffee. It is delicious. 1775 and Rumble just launched their first anti-aging coffee, and no, it's not something that's been brewed in Fauci's lab. They made available over 1,000 longevity bundles, blew through most of them, and after watching freedom lovers panic harder than CNN on election night, they extended the sale and added a few more of those bundles. But once this deal is gone, it is gone, much like your trust in the FDA. People, for $99, you're getting over $250 in value. 2 bags of longevity coffee infused with CAAKG to support cellular health and reduce biological age, plus an extra rare Peabody roast that makes up less than 5% of global crops, kind of like honest politicians, and exclusive merch that screams, "I don't shop at Target anymore." All of it specialty grade, single origin, small batch. This isn't your sleepy chain store coffee. It is for people who read the food labels and who love when their coffee tastes freaking delicious. And if you believe in America and freedom and not settling for weak corporate nonsense, this coffee is for you. Plus, every dollar you spend gets you entered to win the Tesla Cybertruck plus $30,000 cash. That is 99 entries locked in when you buy the bundle. And with less than a month left, this bundle guarantees you a real shot. Head over to 1775coffee.com/Viva and grab yours before the bundle is gone. Once again, that is 1775coffee.com/Viva. Thank you, 1775, for the sponsor. And now back to the video. It's easier to work with liberals because they're predictable in their responses because they think like second grade children, smooth-brained animals. It's easier to deal with liberals because you can predict what they're going to do, and what they're going to do is going to be stupid. So America comes in and says, fix up your border, fix up your drug problem, fix up your illegal immigration problems, or we impose a tariff. And Carney, the newfound savior of Canada, comes in and says, oh, no, we're a proud nation. Nobody's going to insult us and call Trudeau the governor and suggest we're going to be the 51st state. No, we're going to come back with retaliatory tariffs to an economy that is over 10 times more powerful, more diverse. We're going to go with retaliatory tariffs against Tesla, against everything, even though we already have tariffs on poultry, dairy, meats, even though they already have 200% tariffs. No, they're a proud country. We're going to retaliate. Well, you retaliated, Carney. Now you put Canada in a position where it's going to have its ass kicked by Trump unless you just come back to the table. But it's too late for you. You've already retaliated. You know who might come to the table now? If Pierre Poilievre is listening, looking, and learning, Pierre is coming to the table now. Sorry, I'm really sorry about what Carney did. It was stupid. We should have listened to your legitimate grievances. We shouldn't have retaliated. And then there would be a 90-day pause on the tariffs so we can figure things out, renegotiate. That's all we wanted to do. Renegotiate, tighten up the borders. No. The neighbor, Steve Urkel, just took a shot at his other neighbor, Mike Tyson. What did you learn? So the news of the day, if you haven't heard, people, is that Trump has paused the tariffs. And it's wild to live through this. Hold on a second. Before I want to bring it up, because I did say it. Maybe it was lucky. Maybe it was just stupid. But I got it right this time. I'm not in Trump's head. This is on Monday, April 7th. Nor do I have any info from his admin. Just to say that if you're open to a 90-day pause on tariffs, you obviously deny a rumor that the admin is contemplating on the verge of a 90-day pause on tariffs. And I haven't even read the art of the deal. And so what happened today? 90-day pause on the tariffs for the countries that didn't retaliate. Who retaliated? China, because they are big bullies with global, you want to talk about aspirations of global dominance. Communist domination nation. They retaliated because they think that America can't live without them. And I put out a tweet earlier today, like, does America need Chinese products more than China needs American dollars? We'll find out. If you can't get what you get from China from 70 other countries that weren't stupid enough to retaliate and are coming to the table now to renegotiate, you probably can't get it anywhere on earth. There's going to be the issue about, getting stuff from countries that China has infiltrated like Vietnam and Cambodia, but set that aside. We'll deal with that when time comes. The news of the day is that Trump pauses reciprocal tariffs for 90 days, ups China's levy to 125%. President Donald Trump on Wednesday said he was authorizing a 90-day pause in reciprocal tariffs to all countries except China. I think it's more than except China, but whatever, the news is breaking and developing, on which he was raising the levy of 1 to 125% in the latest twist of a saga that has roiled financial markets for a week. The universal 10% tariffs still remain in place. The U.S. markets immediately responded with exuberant joy as all 3 major indexes were up by at least 6%, NASDAQ gaining nearly 10% by 2 p.m. Earlier in the day, China and the European Union unveiled stiff retaliation fees aimed at countering the U.S. tariff blitz, while the unfazed Trump urged global companies to set up shop in the U.S. That's one way that you make sure that you decouple from China. Oh, but we don't have the infrastructure yet, everyone said last week. Right. You got 70 other countries now. Maybe you can find some infrastructure there. Maybe you'll woo some business to come in and build the infrastructure here. My goodness, if you can do Operation Warp Speed and develop a jibby jab in 6 months, the safest and most effective jibby jab in all of humanity, you can build up some infrastructure for manufacturing textiles, minerals, pretty quick. Medicines. Although from what I understand, the tariffs don't apply to medicines, so that, we should not have a problem there. Although we get a substantial portion from India, apparently, on which there will not be any more reciprocal tariffs or a 90-day pause. All right, whatever. I think at the session with reporters, Trump was asked why he paused the tariffs, and he said some folks were getting spooked without specifying who. People were jumping a little bit out of line, Trump said. They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid. The EU said earlier Wednesday it would impose 25% tariffs on a range of U.S. imports. First round, Still, the brunt of Trump's wrath was aimed directly at China, which Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent described as a, quote, bad actor, end quote, in addressing reporters in front of the White House shortly after the tariffs were announced. What we've ended up with here, as I've told everyone a week ago in this very spot, do not retaliate and you will be rewarded. We don't need to go in for the rest of it. That is what you call the art of the deal, people. You can bet on people's predictable actions, and they bet on China's actions. China thinks America can't live without China. China's going to find out whether or not it can live without American dollars. Or they'll come to the table, or we will decouple as respective nations, and whatever China supplied, America will be able to find from other countries. Canada retaliated because Mark J. Carney is an idiot, a corrupt, 3-passport-carrying WEF globalist whore stooge of an idiot. And now Canadians are going to suffer as a result of that. And now Pierre Poilievre, if he's got half an ounce of political savvy, which I know that he does, he will now be able to say, congrats, the retaliatory tariffs that Carney imposed on Trump, stupidly imposed on Trump, are now going to hurt Canadians. Had we just sat at the table and negotiated, we'd all be better off. Our best neighbor, biggest trading partner, which offers us defense, which we've been causing a bit of a headache because of the Chinese infiltration in our Canadian government, they would have been talking to us had we not done what we did. I will be the one to lead us out of this when I'm elected prime minister. What a time to be alive, people.